Hello, we are back and we're ready for another episode of addiction recovery, hope and resources and I've got my first returning guest because the last time she was here we had technical difficulty issues, and so I brought her back as soon as she would come, and she is back, and I'm so excited.
I'm back. It's scary, but I'm back.
Jerry Jorgensen, co-founder of Desert Solace Recovery, a pornography rehab, right?
Correct. Yep.
In layman's terms. Sorry, I was just sharing this on social media.
Good. So,
today is step 10. And we're going to be talking about, and kind of the key phrase for this one is daily accountability. Mm-hmm. And in the LDS program, it's continue to take personal inventory, and when you're wrong, promptly admit it. And in the AA program, it's continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, we promptly admitted it. So it's very similar, and it's all about monitoring yourself and admitting your mistakes is kind of what the basic thing is. And so we'll get into that, but when I asked Jerry to come on, I said, you go with it, whatever you want to go. So she wants to share a little bit more about her story than she did last time, and then about family relationships, family support, how you can deal with your loved one that's suffering from addictions. So I'm going to turn the time over to you, Jared, and
awesome.
Kick butt.
All right. That's what I normally do.
Yes, it is.
So my story was that I didn't really know anything about addiction. No one in my close family had really, struggled with a quote unquote addiction that, we all have addictions, but it wasn't anything that someone needed to go to rehab for or all that kind of stuff. So when I found out about Mark's addiction, which was a pornography addiction that started when he was a very young teenager.
Mark is your husband?
Mark is my husband, okay. And he is, so I found this out, and, this is how lame I was. I just said, oh, well, just stop it.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, like that's going to work. Yeah. I didn't know anything about the addiction cycle. I didn't know anything about this being a brain disease. And there are some people that believe that because it's not a substance, that it doesn't really affect the brain. Science has shown us that that is not true. Neural pathways are formed, and
so is medicine.
Absolutely. And so, they've really proven that this is, a disease. Yeah. And it's not a moral defect. It's not, it's gotten a hold of the brain to the point where the ability to choose has been compromised.
Yeah.
And not that that's an excuse, but that is a reality. And that's why it gets to be treated with professional help. Yeah. So when I found out, I went, well, okay, we'll just stop it. And he goes, well, it doesn't really work that way. Anyway, so we went to outpatient programs, and I got therapy, he got therapy, we did marriage therapy, and it just wasn't working for us. It just wasn't getting to the core of the problem. And not to say anything bad against any therapist, I'm not saying that, but for us, we needed a level of care where Mark could get away from the stressors of life, get away and actually focus on his addiction.
Right.
And so we found a place. He went clear across the country. And, he was gone for several months. And that gave me an opportunity to really look at myself. And that's what I kind of really wanted to touch on is the family members, they are not responsible for this disease. They didn't control. You can't control it.
It's not their choices.
We didn't create it,
right.
And we can't cure it. But what we can do is take the steps to really work on ourselves and really get to the point where we're good with life. We're good, that we're in alignment. Because what happens so often is some of the family members will say, "We'll just fix him.
Yeah.
Just go fix him. I'm not going to look at anything about myself and go, no, this isn't going to work." Because if he's coming back, it's a family disease. It's a family dynamic, just like any addiction. Yeah. So with him coming back into the home or even being in relationship with people, they get to do their work. And if they do their work and the person that's struggling with a certain addiction does their work, magic can happen. Yeah. So he went away, and I did a lot of work on myself. And when he came out, Oh, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit too. Oftentimes, wives think that, especially when it's of a sexual nature, they think, well, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
What am I, chopped liver?
Right.
You know, what is it that where he has to seek this out when it has nothing to do with the wife? It has nothing to do with the sex.
Yeah.
It's about numbing and avoiding and escaping their lives. This is just the avenue that's been chosen. It could be anything. It could be food, drugs, alcohol, you know, you name it. But but this is one of them. And this one, you know, is a tough one because not only is it a behavior, but it is often comes into their lives so much earlier than drugs and alcohol. And especially now, kids, an average exposure age is between 5 and 8 years old.
Absolutely.
And, you know, with the smartphones and the iPads and everything, and not that they're addicts at that point, but the exposure is happening earlier and earlier and earlier. So, and to me, the best thing that can be done is, you know, people, they're just so concerned, well, what filter's the best? What do I put on the computer? Filters are great. They're like speed bumps.
Sure.
They can slow it down, but they're not the answer.
Yeah.
Filters are not the answer. What the answer is the relationship with the loved one, even if it's a child or an adult, where you're a safe place for them to come and talk to.
Yeah.
And say, what is going on? You know, what?
You don't react when they come.
No, and you know, I've made that mistake where I reacted instead of responded, and
You're human.
Yeah, and I hit the roof. But there's this thing called repentance, which is awesome because then I can kind of go over and, you know, repent, make amends, and have a do-over. And so it's okay if you've made that mistake with your child or even with your husband, there are do-overs. So when he came out of residential treatment, I didn't ever really go to the place of beat up like it was my fault. I had enough, I got enough knowledge and therapy and stuff to realize that wasn't the issue, that this was just a symptom of something so much deeper. And he says, we're going to open a residential treatment center in St. George, Utah. And I go, I'm in.
Yeah.
We had no money, didn't have a clue how this was going to happen, but our intention was so clear that this is what we wanted to do with our lives, that the right people just came to us, and the place, our facility, it just opened up to us. Our financial investor just appeared, and we got it rolling, and gosh, that was 7.5 years ago.
And now people, like you said, Mark went clear across the country. Now people come clear across the country to you guys to get some help.
Not only clear across the country, but we've treated people from probably 6, 7 different countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we do treat some local and a lot from Utah and stuff, but it is, boy, they come from all over.
Yeah. Gives me the chills on my bald head.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know. It's really cool. So that was kind of our journey. And so what I do mostly is I'm the family liaison, and I kind of work with the wives of the clients that are in. And the cool thing about that is I do a weekly support call, but what's really awesome about that is wives still get on this weekly call, even though their husband graduated 2, 3, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it serves them. It's one of those things that we do.
Hundreds
over
of
and
wives
over
on
again.
the phone.
Well,
do they not be able to talk?
No, we've worked it out, so it works really well. But you know, it's just so awesome because I get wives whose husband graduated, 5 years ago, and they have so much wisdom, and they can share their experience. And here is a wife where she's still pretty much traumatized and going, I don't even know what to do here. And it's just
total
so
support.
Total support in so many different ways. So that's just another, and encouraging them to get to the meetings. That those meetings they're part of your recovery. And it's joyful. And I have wives that say, you mean I have to go to a meeting?
Yeah.
It was his fault. I didn't do any of this. Why the heck do I have to go to a therapist? Why do I have to go to me? I said, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
but if you
point.
choose this and choose in, it'll bless your lives like no other.
Never met, but the coolest things is to see that someone that comes from a family member, they're not, the specific addiction isn't what their family member is, but they're coming because they love them and they want to understand them. And then all of a sudden, I've watched it hundreds of times, is where they go,
whoa,
the third week, I'm here for me now.
This is for me. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, the men that come to us, and we're an adult male facility, so 18 years old and up.
Yeah.
And when they come in, sometimes they come under duress, or sometimes they'll come in going, my wife is done with me if I don't do this. And it doesn't take very long for them to realize, this is for you.
Yeah.
This has to be for you. It can't be for anybody else but you. Mm-hmm. And, and she's doing her work. And I tell the wives, I says, just put him up on a shelf. You work on you. He's taken care of. He's here. He's getting his brain detoxed. He's working on life skills for himself so that his life works and he can get in alignment. Because when they come into our center, we don't act like we don't treat them as if they're broken. They're not.
Right.
They have just allowed things to attach to them, and we can peel off those layers, get to the core reason of why they're hiding, why they're avoiding. And they just happen to choose this one of a sexual nature.
Yeah.
And that's tough because there's a lot more shame that goes with that. And the wives feel oftentimes a lot more betrayal because of the sacredness and sensitivity of it being a sexual addiction.
I love that you and Mark are so in line that you're both like me in my addiction is open books. You're like willing to talk about it, and it's not shameful. It's you're human, and you can get help, and you can help people, instead of being sick.
Absolutely. And that's that's what I treat, with the wives and the moms, because I do a parent call and a wives call. They're two separate calls because the dynamics are very different from being a parent of an addict and being married to one.
True.
And especially, again, with pornography and sex addiction. And so when they get on those calls, I says, you know what? You get to be ambassadors for this. So what you're learning here, you get to go out and share. Share in your neighborhoods, share in your churches, as much as you're comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Share with your ecclesiastical leaders what you're learning. This is that, it's step 12, but it's giving back and letting other people go, oh, so what I've been doing for 30 years hasn't been working because, and I go, yeah, it's awesome.
Bingo.
Bingo.
Ding, ding, ding.
And so it's just, we share the information, and then I'm very hopeful that they take that on and share it. And the guys that come out of our treatment center, the shame is melted away. Let me talk about it, because there's a million more of you just like you that are struggling with the same kind of things.
Unreal.
Yep.
And there's
everywhere.
a million more people out there, like you said when you started, is telling, it hurts me that people aren't a little bit more open-minded, and they're getting better, but the just stop mentality is doesn't work.
It never works.
Yelling doesn't work, and just stop doesn't work.
Nope.
So let's try the way that works.
In fact, there's a really cool thing, and I actually taught this in church not too long ago. So there is a scripture in Matthew. And so this just isn't
I got done reading that.
LDS philosophy, but it's in Matthew. It's in the Sermon on the Mount, where Christ is talking about turn the other cheek. Well, we have heard that one 100 times. But the part that follows after that says, resist ye not evil. This is Christ talking, and he's saying, resist ye not evil. So what does that mean? And people just go, I don't get it. What do you mean? I'm not supposed to resist evil? Exactly. Because resisting means putting up a fight. And when we fight and resist, that's where our focus is. So what Christ is telling us is, instead of resisting it and fighting it, and that's where your focus is, that you turn from the darkness, turn to the light, acknowledge that it's there, quit fighting it. And then we have choice. And people don't get that. They think, I've got to fight harder. I've got to white knuckle it harder. I've got to pray harder. I've got to willpower through this. And it does not work. When we accept that it is there, this is a choice. I can absolutely go down this road. I can use these drugs. I can look at pornography.
Yeah.
I can do this. And if I have that choice, guess what? I have this choice as well. And by recognizing that, sometimes that just takes away the fight, where we can actually physically turn and face the light. And so I love that part. And so
That's
resisting,
resisting,
we have discovered that it just doesn't work. And so we use the term a lot, whatever you resist persists.
Yeah.
Only 100% of the time.
Kind of what you're saying is play out the tape in your head and then make the proper decision, but let it be the good decision.
Well, yeah, but acknowledge it,
accept
and
it.
be aware that it is there. Because when we put our head in the sand and say, I shouldn't be doing this, I shouldn't be doing this, well, you are.
Right.
So let's accept reality, then we're open to make new choices. But as long as we're fighting it, we're in a mode of being closed off, and it doesn't work.
I like that.
Me too. Me too.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
So Do you want to continue on in a different direction?
We can talk about accountability if you want.
We could talk about accountability.
What would you like to talk about, Heston?
Well, let's say that, you know, in Heston's recovery, everyone knows that Heston was a drug addict and an alcoholic for 25 years, and the way I understand Step 10 is a different way that a lot of people understand Step 10, and that's okay. Everyone's is different. My Step 10 is in the morning and at night. And I kind of, it's a two-part daily accountability thing. It's in the morning, I prepare, I go through my head what things I want to be better at. Yeah. And in the evening, I go and I say, where did I fail? Where can I do better? Get some sleep and try again in the morning. And then that's kind of where I'm at. Some people do it in different times of the day. They only do it once a day. But Step 10 is about staying spiritually fit. That's the whole secret. If when you've turned your life over to God in Step 3, this is about, you've got to continue. 10, 11, and 12. We're done with the steps after 9. We're done with them with the work part. But 10, 11, and 12 are your maintenance steps.
Absolutely.
They're keeping you sober forever if you continue to stay spiritually fit.
Absolutely.
So,
and what we talk about in our center is, you know, about being conscious and setting that intention. What is your intention for the day? And that's just what you're talking about, being spiritually fit. Okay, my intention for the day is this, this, and this. And am I committed? Am I committed to this intention or am I not? Right. Because that commitment piece is so cool. And if we, quote unquote, fail or it just didn't work for us, guess what? We can recommit. Yeah. There's not a certain number of, you only get 4 recommitments. Yeah. And then you're done. No. It doesn't work like 70. That. Yeah, exactly. God doesn't work that way. He just wants us to keep coming back and to keep putting forth that effort. And so, you know, I love the fact that we can recommit every day. So we start off with an intention and that we're conscious throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, we look at that accountability piece. Okay, where is it? You know, maybe instead of the word failure, we don't like that word. You can use it if you want because it works for you.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it, Step 10 is your successes too.
Absolutely.
But and staying grounded, being humble.
And what works for me. Did this work for me in my life? Did this draw me closer to God? Did this particular instance draw me closer to my wife, to my kids, closer to who I work with my neighbors, whatever. And so being accountable for our day and going, okay, well, yeah, I really stunk on ice on this one. Yeah, yeah. And we can, you know.
Not failure.
Not a failure. Well, you can use whatever word you want.
I know.
Because they're words, but words have power. Right. And different words resonate with us differently. And that's why, you know, and I know a lot of people are going to give me grief over this, and that's fine. Yeah. But we don't.
This is Church of Jerry.
This is the Church of Jerry right now. We don't say I am an addict because the words I am are so powerful. Yeah. That's what God said. That's him. You know, to Moses. I am. That I am that I am. Yeah. And when we say I am this, I get that it's a recognition so that we're almost conscious of it. But when we say I am a failure. I am not enough. I am stupid. When we're saying those, it resonates. It resonates in our body. So instead of identifying ourselves with that, because we are not addicts, we're struggling with an addiction, but that is not who we are. But a lot of people identify themselves that way.
I think that's the way they show their humbleness, their humility.
And that could be true, too.
Kind of just recognizing it in the public.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't like it.
I know, I love it. We've battled over this for like 5 years.
We have battled over this for years.
It's all right. Everyone's different.
Everybody's different. But when we say, like say, I'm Jerry and I'm a recovering addict, or I'm working, or I'm struggling with this addiction, instead of I am a drug addict. Yeah, no, I'm not. And we may be struggling with that, but that's not who we are. That's the only thing I'm saying on that.
No, I agree with you.
And AA people, and I love AA so much. And they'll go, no, that's not right. And I go, and it's all good. Yeah. You do what works for you, and I'm going to do what works for me. And it's glorious. Sure. Because there's lots of ways to recovery.
Yeah, there is a lot in it, but there's definitely got to be.
But there's fundamentals too.
Yeah, there's fundamentals, and most of it's the spiritual side.
Absolutely. I don't know how people do it without.
I've never met anyone that has. That hasn't found
something.
their spiritual
Yes,
side.
yes. Because we've had some gentlemen in our center that come in as, they say they're agnostic or they're atheist, and go, okay.
That's okay.
And it doesn't take very long before they feel like, I'm feeling something.
Yeah.
I'm feeling something bigger than myself.
My friend John, John,
Very well.
was very much like that.
Okay.
My mom died. I don't believe there's God, and it wasn't very long, just like you said.
Yeah. Where when that light bulb goes on, it's just miraculous.
They're not alone anymore.
They're never alone. Yeah. And a lot of them have fought this in silence and secrecy for years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which doesn't work. So I love the accountability piece and taking that daily accountability. And I love the part where it says, when we're wrong, promptly admit it. Yeah. Because when I was sick, I wasn't the quote unquote addict, but oh, yes, I was. I was such an addict to control. And I was such an addict to, I've got to fix this because I'm a wife.
I'm going to catch him doing this.
I'm a woman. I'm going to paint shop. I'm going to find out. I'm going to validate all the craziness that I went through. When I could get out of that and promptly admit when I'm wrong. Yeah. Instead of, I would go weeks. I'm not going to admit that.
Too many people,
you're the dirty
both of
dog.
them become sick.
Oh, so sick. Yeah. So, and again, when you're the family member, it doesn't mean you're the cause of it. It doesn't mean you're at fault or to blame. Yeah. But you're in relationship. And so you have an accountability piece. Yeah. To work on yourself. Not to fix them, but to work on you.
And when they do that, the healing.
Oh, then the healing can start.
Acknowledgeable or whatever. It's so prevalent. It's just right there.
It's just right there.
They're shining.
Yep.
Together.
And when that, the couples that have found recovery together, or even the families that are just taking on these universal principles. And these are God's laws. Yeah. And you can call them, if you don't believe in God, it's a universal principle. Let's go with that. It's like gravity. Can you wrap your mind around that one?
Right?
Because it's real. It is their universal laws. And when we can accept those, then our lives can just really take off.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love it.
It's amazing.
So I wanted to share this today is, step 10 in the AA and in the LDS church one is, the LDS Church bought the program and then they just adjusted it to their faith. Mm-hmm. So they paid for it to the AA program. But in the 10th step in the AA, there's promises. And I wanted to read those 10-step promises because everyone that's been through AA knows about the 10th step promises. And then we can talk about that for a little, how amazing this is after you've worked steps 1 through 9 and then step 10, when you hear these promises, how you're free. It's like it gives me a chills on my bald head again. Mm-hmm. But it says, and we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol, drugs, pornography. For by this time sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor, pornography, drugs. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude toward liquor, drugs, pornography, etc., has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it. Neither are we avoiding temptation.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
That fight word.
Yeah, right? The evil part, right? Yeah. We feel as though we had been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition.
I love that.
Is that not the coolest promises?
It is the coolest. And, those are the words that, I love spiritual fit condition, and I love the word alignment. Because you think about your car. If it's out of alignment, it's not going to work right.
Oh, yeah.
We have to get our car in alignment. It's really nice sometimes if our spine is in alignment. Sometimes we might need to get some professional help on that. When our body is out of alignment, whether it's spiritually, physically, mentally, relationally, sexually, whatever, when we're out of alignment, things aren't going to work.
Sure.
So that's why we just work on, you call it spiritually fit, and I love that, and we call it alignment. When we're in alignment with God and with who we really are, our life works.
Yeah, your car's not in alignment, and you're gonna have bald tires on one side,
just like the top of your
until
head.
it explodes.
I know. I'm saying exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's got to be in alignment.
You are full of wisdom, Jerry. I always say that.
Oh, thanks.
So, how at Desert Solace? Do you start from step one when they're there?
Well,
or do you do the steps?
Yeah, we do. Oh, absolutely. They go to a 12-step meeting every single day. It's either an ARP meeting or an SA, Sexaholics Anonymous, or an AA. So they hit a meeting every single day for the 90 days that they're with us.
So there is
there's a Sexaholics Anonymous meeting, yes.
All right.
In this town, yeah.
Nice.
So there's that, and so they hit a meeting every single day, and it's critical. Do we start on step one? No, because it's a rolling enrollment. So when they come in, when they go to a meeting, they might be on step 4 in Sexaholics. They might be on 10 in AA, and in ARP, they might be on 7. Don't know. So, but we really emphasize, the steps in order. But where they come in is where they come in. Yeah. And let's grab hold of these concepts, and here we go. But we believe in the 12-step program completely. We're a spiritually based program. We're not an LDS program.
Yeah. It can't be if I'm right.
No, we're no.
You're just wanting them to get better.
I don't care. I don't care about any of that. We just want them connect with their spiritual side so that they can be healthy physically, relationally, sexually, all of that.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And you guys do the equine therapy?
We do equine therapy. When they come in, they're assigned a horse. So they are responsible for that horse's health. Feeding it, cleaning up after it, if it needs medicine, all that kind of stuff. That is their horse for the 90 days.
You should let them name it.
They
could have different names. The horse is like, I'm confused. I was dead last week.
That horse would not know who he was. But so they come in, and then we do specific equine therapy twice a week. Where the therapist is there, we have an equine specialist that takes them through experiential things with the horse. Yeah. The horse is like a mirror. It mirrors things about the guys.
Have you ever looked into a horse's eyes?
It's amazing.
It's deep.
Yeah. And the horses will actually mirror the energy. And the therapist that's watching they can get so much more information in an hour equine session than maybe 10 hours of therapy.
How cool is that?
So it just speeds things up. It's awesome.
So you guys, if you're not opposed to finding new ways and trying and experimenting, whatever.
Exactly.
If someone says this works, we're going to give it a shot.
We're going to give it a shot. We tried yoga. We did it once a week, and I go, oh, this is so powerful. We've got to do it twice a week. So we had to figure out in our schedule how to do yoga twice a week, because it's not, yoga. This is like slowing the brain down where they connect with their breathing, connect with their spirit, and it gives them that time to do that.
Alignment.
That is the word of the day.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So where do we go from here? You guys have had hundreds of people, thousands of people through your facility, and where's your goals, and what are you trying to do?
Yeah, so our goal is to just keep treating people, getting the word out there that we're there. Our goal is to somehow let the guys know that it's a safe place to let go of your shame and come and get the help, and go, 3 months out of my life? Are you kidding me?
Right.
And it's expensive. I go, it's 3 months out of eternity, let alone just this. It's 3 months. You got to detox the brain first. Crazy. And, we believe in residential treatment. I know there's people like you that could heal without it. A lot of people cannot. It was not easy. It's another tool.
Yeah.
It's another tool where they can dismiss and get rid of all the stressors that's going on in their lives, at that time, and focus on them and focus on that recovery piece.
It's such a beautiful area too.
And it's beautiful with the horses and Snow Canyon and
can't go wrong.
It's fabulous.
Yeah, I admire you and Mark. I always say that. I tell everyone about you. I always say, even when I'm in church or somewhere when I hear something, I'm like, well, my good friends that own the pornography rehab, because you know how taboo the subject of pornography is.
And you just, I say it all the time.
Yeah.
I say it in church.
you just look for that shock factor.
They're used to me now, so the shock is gone.
Yeah, you're warding.
My ward just kind of goes, okay, here we go again.
Right.
It's awesome.
That's so cool. Well, thank you for taking this much time out of your day. It's twice,
I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm grateful, and I hope you will tell Mark hello.
I will.
And we will have you on again if you'll come. I guess I'm going to keep doing this show as long as they're going to have me. So
Awesome. Awesome.
You fit in perfect, and,
Oh,
and
good.
we have different opinions on some things.
Absolutely.
But that's
it's all
what's
good.
awesome.
It is awesome.
You know?
It
and
is awesome.
and I actually I admire, you know, your side of it, because you're more of an intellect person for me, and so I never thought of words mean so much, because I'm just down a little bit, a couple levels, but I shouldn't
you're not
say
at all.
that.
You're not
I
at all.
haven't failed.
No, you're not at all. You're not at all. You're an inspiration to me. You're an inspiration to your family. You're an inspiration to so many people that meet you. So
Yeah.
you stop putting yourself down.
I'm
right
not down.
This
I'm going to
minute.
pick myself up
Just
right
go.
now.
I
I'm
rock.
awesome.
You are awesome.
I look in the mirror, Heston. All right. Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, Heston.
Have a good day. We'll
Listen,
see you next
too.
Monday.
Thanks.